What's up, guys? Welcome back to the battle for the galaxy. VGJ.Storm taking on Wheel-Wreck while whistling. Are these the two teams that have the longest team names? I think they might be. Either way, game one was stomped by VGJ.Storm. Great rotations, good lane setup and support, and for Wheel-Wreck, they were doing okay. I mean, I feel like they made a lot of good decisions, but the decisions they made were, the initial plan was good. The actual execution had a lot to be desired, and I think that's really what we saw in that last game, is that they underestimated the healing power of a certain pair of healers. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Io going to be taken out with the Omni Knight.
5 seconds.
So Wheel-Wreck have some PTSD after that first game, are going to limit the ability for VGJ.Storm to play in that identical game, but VGJ, taking advantage of these bans, will take the Winter Wyvern first pick for themselves, and, you know, may not have the save power of an Io / Omni Knight necessarily, still can do a lot of heavy lifting on the defensive end of things. It really does depend on the matchups. Wheel-Wreck will at least try to get as much magic as possible. Earth Spirit definitely a good start for them. The forward position of the Sand King from the Wheel-Wreck side didn't really do a ton in the last game, at least early on. For sure had a lot of issues, not able to really pressure back an Omni Knight in the top lane. Storm Spirit can't help you kill off a Death Prophet very easily, so he's kind of forced to go into that tri-lane. So that was an awkward spot for a Sand King to be in. Earth Spirit is a hero that is perhaps the most immune to those situations where he just doesn't have bad lanes to actually gank into. I'd say Earth Spirit and Night Stalker, they can gank into any lane almost at any time. So yeah, that is going to be a really big help for the consistency of the forward position of Wheel-Wreck, and that is, again, a very large part of why they lost control so early on, is because they just didn't have enough heroes for the early stages of the game. Ancient Apparition will be the pick, and it will form probably one of the more classic duos. A small problem with this is that they can't go for necessarily the best third hero in this, which is, I would say, CK and or Sven, because they are carries who go in the safe lane who have a stun. You can go for them, and it's not like that bad, but you're going to get crushed by Winter Wyvern. Wow, that insta-ban Gyrocopter, that was like actually 0 seconds. But yeah, you're going up against Winter Wyvern. That is such an incredibly huge risk, because Sven will kill his allies, or will just be frozen in place thanks to that curse, or will have his target embraced. And there's so many issues there that you just can't really get around. There's no way to do it unless you initiate on the Winter Wyvern, and that's just not easy. Picking up a Silencer mid is something I guess you could do, and up against Silencer, like, that's not too unreasonable, but that is going pretty deep. CK suffers very similar things in that you can pretty easily clear out his Illusion Goon squad with Winter Wyvern and Tidehunter. Tidehunter was banned out first phase in the last game. He's getting picked up with Winter Wyvern, forming quite a bit of reactive team fight from VGJ.Storm. It's a little more difficult to initiate with these two heroes just by nature of what they build up and how their ultimates work. Blink Dagger, Force Staff on Tidehunter, usually not going to be picked up until his like third, sometimes his fourth item. Like, usually go for those mechs and pipes and whatnot over the initiation items. So it'll be really hard for Wheel-Wreck to initiate in this particular game. VGJ.Storm should have their off lane all sealed up. Now, can he survive an Ancient Apparition Earth Spirit +1? It definitely seems like Ancient Apparition is the type of hero you want to have if the Tidehunter is going to be on the other end of things, because you do a lot of magic damage. Plus, you have that additional follow-up stun. If you do decide to go for a Sven or something like that, you could just bolt him into, I guess not Cold Bolt anymore. You could hammer him into a Cold Feet. I guess you Cold Feet first, and then you hammer him, and then you usually get the freeze. You will be playing that kind of coin flip game of will Kraken Shell proc. That is something that is really hard to deal with, but I think they should be able to at least make a couple of attempts on this Tidehunter's life. Not going to be the easiest thing to do in the world, though. Earth Spirit is not a high damage hero. That's just not what he does. He has a lot of utility in slows and silences, but he just doesn't do a lot of damage. Especially when he's anchor smashed. He will do about nothing when he is anchor smashed. So, yeah, it turns out Tidehunter is a pretty tough nut to crack. What's going to be for Wheel-Wreck? They do have the last pick, so mid lane probably going to be held on for as long as possible. They're taking out quite a few mid laners themselves in both the Puck and the Viper. You see on the other end, Quap being taken out as well. You're going up against Tidehunter, Winter Wyvern. BKBs are going to be nice, but not the end-all. They'll go for an Underlord, a hero that you sometimes see just randomly pop up. The hero never really has like a calling. He's obviously better slightly when he's up against these really, really bulky heroes, like a Tidehunter. Firestorm can do a lot of damage, but overall, it does seem like the type of hero that only some teams are really willing to pick up. Is a hero that's going to go towards the offlane and is generally going to have a pretty good time. But on the other side, VGJ.Storm will pick up the Slardar. I really like Slardar for position in this patch. I feel like the fact that you can prioritize sprint as your build and not be significantly punished usually is going to be really, really nice for you, because you can just go for those runes. Just rune control all day long. If the Earth Spirit decides to fight you, you're usually okay to take that fight, because again, Earth Spirit doesn't do a lot of damage. And though a support Slardar isn't really a powerhouse either, you should, in general, have the advantage, depending on where those fights take place, of course.
10 seconds remaining.
Willwreck will grab the Sven, now able to get very quickly in and out, but they have so few good targets to go on. I already mentioned the problem with Sven vis-a-vis Winter Wyvern. The problems get a little bit worse when you're looking at this Medusa pick for VGJ.Storm. Medusa's not going to have the most steroids for her. We'll have a save from the Winter Wyvern, usually not going to be huge for the Medusa, but still it's not too bad. She will have the Corrosive Haste from the Slardar, help her do quite a bit of extra damage as well. But in general, we see Medusa is very rarely getting completely locked out of lane. I don't think Ancient Apparition Earth Spirit, with any given last mid hero, can completely lock out a Medusa. They can pressure her, they can make her life slightly difficult, but they cannot completely shut her out of the game. Nowadays, you need a very specific set of heroes to threaten that. Like Ogre Magi and Quap, does that do it? Does that even do it? Ogre Magi Viper, that'll do it, I think. Like, you need very, very powerful lane supports and just carries farming there to actually kill off a Medusa.
Dire team pick.
Stone Gaze is going to be aces up against the Sven. The Weaver will be taking out Death Prophet as well. Trying to give as good a matchup as possible to that Medusa. Mid lane being pared down quite a bit here. I want to say that probably the worst matchup for the Medusa dying-wise is either a Tinker or a Lina. But Willwreck can just as easily go for someone like a Sniper, and that can get some pretty safe value since Medusa can't really touch a Sniper. Kind of vice versa. They're both rather untouchable to each other, but that's fine if you're just looking to farm up a heavy late-game hero. And even though you don't really want to give Medusa a lot of late-game farm, you're farming up your Sniper. You shouldn't be too unhappy about that. Lifestealer, the pick here for VGJ.Storm. A hero that can really, really punish this Underlord pick.
5 seconds remaining.
Not really going to be like a 100-0 counter or anything like that. But is... Oh, hello, that's a TA. But is a hero that has the feast up against a very high health pool hero. Will be able to, for the most part, ignore Pit of Malice simply because you just walk right through it. You will have to worry somewhat about the aura early on, just taking your damage. And even with feast, you probably won't be winning any damage trades if the Underlord has a couple stacks of that. But overall, this Lifestealer will be a little bit slow coming out the gate, but certainly Sneaking will eventually go for a Blink Dagger. Flea will eventually be going for a Blink Dagger. I'm not entirely sure how much I like this Lifestealer pick. Sven is usually picked up in direct response to a Lifestealer, simply because he can give his team so much additional armor. And ultimately, your God Strength damage output will be so much more than the output of a Lifestealer, even if you are 1 or 2 items behind. So, Lifestealer does seem like a little bit of a risk here to me from the VGJ side. But of course, it does almost entirely depend on the initiation and how these teamfight ultimates are going to line up. Templar Assassin is not going up against many small tick tools. The only real one here is the Winter Wyvern's Burn, and that's not really what you want to be doing. Does have to worry about being cursed up, and that's targeted by the Winter's Curse or getting caught by the Winter's Curse. She could so easily kill her allies. I'm like 90% sure you don't spill damage, though. If you're attacking your ally, you don't side spill. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Because let's be honest, when am I ever wrong? I'm always right in this game. It's a lot of physical damage between the TA and the Sven. If they're able to initiate onto Stand King, they can put him down really quickly, but if they can't do that, this Winter Wyvern is going to be an absolutely huge problem. Of course, Tidehunter is really, really well matched up against these low-range, just physical right-click heroes. Anchor Smash will destroy their damage output, and of course Kraken Shell will help them do even less. Keep in mind, Anchor Smash is a percentage damage reduction. TA does get a lot of green damage, Desolator and whatnot, so that isn't reduced. Sven gets an okay amount, but for the most part, he will just be absolutely thrashed by that Anchor. BKB is an absolute necessity here, but again, I'm liking this draft from the Wheel Wreck side. I like their draft in the last game too, although I do think the execution had a lot to be desired. We're not really seeing situations, at least not from my standpoint, where one team is just completely and utterly lacking. There are problems, of course. It's not perfect, but it's not like they have a 0% chance of winning. So, I mean, given last game and how brutal that actually was, you would say, hey, VGJ.Storm, they're looking pretty hot over there. And I would agree with you, but there are certainly power curves in their timing, namely this early game, where Wheel Wreck can just go off. Will require probably level 4s before they really start to get going, though. I'm not really sure how easy it is for a TA and Earth Spirit to kill off Medusa. Not going to be the easiest thing to do, since the mid lane is such a short lane. But here we go. Unpaused, and we're going to be loading out. We got Ahsoka going towards top lane as the Lifestealer. Stan King going to be holding his hand as the Winter Wyvern. Flea going to be roaming around, boots first on the Slardar. Yoya is playing that Dusa, Sneaking playing the Tidehunter on the other end. Got Moose playing that 4 position. Going to be handling the Earth Spirit. QM is on the Sven. Got Derp on the Ancient Apparition. YJS is on the Templar Assassin. Having some fun with her tangos, apparently. This is how you, like, raise APM. And got Onox on the top lane, playing the Underlord. You guys know when, like, StarCraft pros play and they're, like, just in the beginning, the game starts and they're making workers and that's it? You could just literally just press one button and then you're done. But they're always like this and, like, hotkeys and stuff like that. They're always just going like this. That's how you keep APM. I'm not really sure why it matters with the Templar Assassin. It might matter if you're playing a Meepo or something like that. But, yeah, that's how you keep your hands warm. That's how you do it. You just drop items. I could actually, like, do this. You just keep dropping items and eventually your hands will stay warm. Tried and true method. Lifestealer, the Underlord, will be chasing him out. On the other end, they are pretty well surrounded, but a little bit of wraparound, and suddenly from Flea, he sneaks the bounty rune in and will make it a 3-1 in favor of VGJ.Storm. GG, well played. Wheel Wreck are out. It's nice knowing you. I'm kidding, of course. But 3-1 bounty runes, certainly very, very nice. Who got him, actually? Stan King, Ahsoka, and Flea. 2 supports and the Lifestealer. Not too bad at all. We'll see what Flea can actually do. Don't really expect a lot of game from the Slardar here. They're going to roll into Roya very early on. But since Templar Assassin is essentially a melee hero, that roll-in is just going to be the damage output from an Earth Spirit, nothing else. I would say Stan King with that 1 burn is probably going to do about just as much, if not even more damage than the Earth Spirit. He's going to get rolled in on one more time, but that won't really do anything. Rolling Boulder doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't do damage. Flea's going to arrive now. Crush is kind of a mediocre nuke as well. He's just try to zone out YJS to try to mess with the CS a little bit. Up towards top lane, Nox going to be dropping down those Firestorms. CP's already picked up by Ahsoka. And again, looking at this Underlord, he does have quite a bit of armor, but really his strength and tankability comes from the fact that, well, obviously he has the Atrophy aura, but he also has a lot of health. And Feast gets really powerful when the enemy hero has 740 max HP, so Lifestealer should be doing just fine on that top lane, though the Underlord should also have no problems whatsoever. You know, YJ has a lot of issues, though. Burn will just straight kill him off, I think. The kick lands onto 3, but the crush is going to land nonetheless. Tower shots on the Flea will not drop him down, and YJ takes a snake to start that off, and ultimately Templar Assassin, drastically outranged, drastically outgunned, is going to fall. Going to cost the Slardar a lot of time. Sneaking at the same time is not having a perfect time on bottom either. There is a mango into a hammer here, and they will try for it. Ooh. Sneaking. Able to bait that mango out. This shouldn't matter too much. I mean, the mana doesn't disappear or anything like that. but it's slightly less health regen. I would call that a value bait from sneaking. Again, it doesn't really get anything done, it just kind of happens. It just kind of happens. Oh, trap micro. I guess there is some reason to keep your hands warm with Templar Assassin. You gotta activate all those traps. I mean, you're pretty much playing techies nowadays, right? That's what TA does. However, she is once again getting hit by the cold chill. Splinter Blast is there as well as the snake. She'll put up her shield, but again, this dot from the burn is gonna do so much damage. Not quite enough though, and she will eventually survive. Moose will deplete Roya's mana pool decently, but gets crushed for his troubles. Winter Wyvern has nothing else except for right clicks. They'll just chuck a snake in, and it's level 2, no bounces, won't do quite enough. Still, these damage trades, though, for VGJ are working so well in their favor. Hammer goes off on the sneaking. Cold Feet is there as well. Kraken Shell is available. Does it even proc? Well, we'll be frozen, and it'll immediately be unfrozen. Trying to fossilize a Tidehunter. Get out of here. You can't just kill a Tidehunter. They will be able to cancel his salve, though. Another Cold Feet. The damage. He has 5 stick charges. They're going to have to tower dive for this one. It's not going to happen. Now, here comes the help. It's the other fish. Trying to go for the Ancient Apparition. He'll right-click Derp a couple times. There is not quite enough mana for a Stormhammer, though there is actually with the stick charges. Will be used to save Derp's life. Flea will back off. But now there's no mana on the Sven, which means the kill power of this lane drops to about 0 until the Sven can get more mana for more hammers. Up till that point, they'll need someone like Moose to come in, but it's a little bit too late. So Storm do draw out all the mana from the Sven. He had a mango, has a wand, has a stick rather, and now he's pretty much got nothing. Top lane, we still see the Lifestealer and the Underlord trading it blow for blow. But mid lane, this Templar Assassin is suffering something fierce. These snakes are doing so much damage to her, and oh, we have a brawl. Crush will land. Safe sneaking for a couple seconds. He's still frozen. Stick charge is available. He will have that in Anchor Smash, and Moose will get clubbed down by the right clicks. Tidehunter is a monster, in case you guys didn't know. Anchor Smash or not, he is durable as all hell. Really gives Underlord up towards top lane a run for his money. Level 4, and with Anchor Smashes landing, just refusing to die. Now the good thing is that he doesn't have like the most CS, but that's not really like a good thing for Wheel. That's just like a not bad thing. Could be a lot worse in this lane, I suppose. But this Tide is pretty much running rampant. Like, they don't really have the greatest tools to stop him. They will move down with 2 level 2 heroes, and Tide being at not full HP, empty wand, is now a viable kill since the Sven has more mana. Tide, though, kind of sees them, smells them coming. Obviously doesn't see them. This Obs is going to see nothing. I don't think he's going to see their reveal from the smoke either. Sneaking is in an awkward spot right now. Absolutely needs an Anchor Smash, but the Chain Stun is pretty darn good. He'll be frozen down in place as well. No, he won't, actually. The Kraken Shell procs. The roll will miss. No freaking way. Really? He's going to Anchor Smash one more time, which will make the right clicks do about nothing, but the Stormhammer will still do damage. They will get the kill on Sneaking. That is going to cost them 2 more hammers, and Sven is not the brightest penny. Cannot really afford to piss mana away like that, but they get the kill anyway, and that's all that matters. However, the response is incoming. I'll see your kill on Tidehunter and raise you perhaps a little bit more, because here comes the Goon Squad. Slaughter level 2 will end the crush into Derp. The Cold Feet will be still proccing because Slaughter underestimated it. Doesn't matter anyway, the clean TP was something that they couldn't interrupt, and the AA will actually survive. Moose is still in the area, though, sneaking. Just as long as he keeps tabs of this Sven's mana pool, should be fine. Wow, look at this Sven's build. Now, normally we see, well, obviously most Svens want to max out Great Cleave. That's like what you do. We see sometimes 2 points of Stormhammer. We very rarely see more than that. Did he freaking, God, the second time! The second time I missed it! I am just terrible. God, why are you guys still here? Go watch something. Go watch one of the other streams. Maybe they have a better cameraman. Jesus Christ. But 3-point Stormhammer is such an aggressive killing build for this Sven. This is putting a lot of eggs into the I'm going to kill this Tidehunter basket. And I don't know if that's the right decision. I mean, the Stormhammer does scale okay, but 0.1 additional stun duration, like, really? Is that really going to do it? This Tidehunter has a raindrop. I'm not really sure if this is the right build for QM. Now, obviously, if he got Cleave, it will not do anything for him in this lane. He's trying to go for the laning build, but I don't really know if this is a lane that he can really influence that much. Like, he's just not a hero that can change the outcome of this lane by enough. Sven can only do so much at any given time in lane. They'll try to go in one more time. Stormhammer did land, but now the Anchor Smash, and suddenly everyone's doing about no damage versus the Tidehunter, so sneaking is going to still be okay. Derp Derp and Sand King going to have the most awkward exchange of all time. But overall, the Medusa is, oh my god, destroying this Templar Assassin. Did get that kill and is leading the CS, but man, I didn't expect it to be that much net worth difference. Holy hell. Now, I was talking earlier about Medusa lanes where she gets absolutely shut out, and I said this is not going to be one of them. I guess I was right. She's dominating this lane, something fierce. TA is having a miserable time, and what are you going to do to solve this? Are you going to gank the Lifestealer with Infest? I don't think so. Are you going to try to gank the Tidehunter with Ravage as a very low-range Templar Assassin, pure physical hero? Again, I don't think so. So, this Templar Assassin needs stacks. She has none. Feels bad, man. This TA is in the dumpster right now. Speaking of dumpster and heroes and people being in them, QM is surrounded by the Fish Goon Squad. Sneaking does have to watch out. Warcry, though it is only level 1, is still a very powerful tool versus Tidehunter. Anchor Smash being physical. Oh, that's why he got Stormhammer maxed out, so we can CS easier. We've solved the mystery. Yeah, he's gonna be fine. The Medusa is gonna be farming her no stacks as well. There are a couple on this side. TA is gonna see it. Although, I'm not really sure if you can ever jack that stack. If you have a Desolator, maybe. But, Tesolator's gonna be, is not really close by, so she just is gonna have the vision. Once again, we see VGJ.Storm shuffling some hero out of lane in exchange for one of their supports. This decision is not really seen through as many teams as I would like. Like, there are some heroes that can obviously go to the jungle and farm, some that just can't. Obviously, you want to give your level 6s, hell, even level 7s over to your supports if you can actually help it. And Winter Wyvern, I already mentioned how important it is for this hero to get that level 6. Isn't really that important right now, but will eventually be more and more important. And of course, she's 2-2-0 in her build, so a Cold Embrace can definitely make or break your game up against TA and Sven. So, gotta get that 1 point value. Although, I'm not sure if you get it at level 5. I'm not sure you get this at level 6 either. These two spells are really, really powerful, and like they know that they shut down the TA and the Sven by quite a bit. Do they really need to go for that point of Embrace? I would argue you could probably min-max it and try to go for another Splinter Blast at 5. Or I'll even burn at 5, like it doesn't really make that much of a difference, but yeah, we'll see. It is going to do the most useless Arctic Burn of all time. It just takes out her defensive charges. That'll show her. And in the meantime, bottom lane, oh man, you hate to see this kind of thing happen. Sven maxing out Stormhammer first, and his lane opponent is going to be going for Hood first. Yeah, just Stormhammer away and watch it do no damage. What's the status resistance? 7.5%? I'm pretty sure 7.5% like completely nullifies at least the duration of this stun increase. So yeah, stun duration isn't really going to change. I'm talking a lot about sneaking. Underlord has had a very good time as well on the top lane. The thing is, though, Underlord needs to make a impact on a little more of a consistent basis. Sneaking just has to show up with a Ravage. Underlord so far has had his hands tied up in the top lane because he by himself can't really just run a train over. Oh my god, Onox, please. By himself, especially if he's disconnecting constantly, can't really just lock down the game. Like, he just doesn't have that kit. It's not that type of hero. He will need to join up with his allies. He needs his allies to be getting farm. And right now, they're not doing terribly. They're starting to recover, clearing out these stacks and whatnot. But they can certainly be in better spots. I've seen Svens and TAs with more at this point. So VGJ.Storm, they do have the advantage, at least to a point where they don't have to really worry about where the next item is going to be coming in from the Medusa. Like, they're not at that point yet. They are not considering, oh no, our Medusa's in trouble. How do we get farm for her? Well, I mean, she's just farming. she's doing just fine. Is very, very vulnerable if they do eventually catch up to her. Only 1 point in that shield is Probably just going to be going for this AFK build moving forward. Mask of Madness, getting that split shot value. But, like, who are you really worried about ganking your Medusa? If Sven ever leaves, he's going to be very, very noticeable. Underlord, Earth, and Ancient Apparition. Can they actually kill off a Medusa? I'm not sure they can. And if they do, Medusa's going to be, like, over here, so she'll have Shrine. She'll have allies that can TP in. It's such a risky play to actually move out and try to kill off Medusa with just a skeleton crew. So she is min-maxing something fierce. Looks like Winter Wyvern is going to get that 1 point safety Cold Embrace. Again, it's such an amazing ability in this particular game. It's better to make the safe decision than say, oops, sorry guys, I don't have Embrace, and that's why you died. What's going to be Wheelwreck? How are you going to make your move? Looks like the move again still can't really be made. We've seen very little influence once again from this 4 position of Wheelwreck. Earth Spirit just not having enough assistance to go into these lanes, and oh really? Okay, well that was very anticlimactic. It's like they're gonna try to bait someone in with the push and then try to get him afterwards. No, not really. Flea's gonna get jumped, stunned up, will land the crush though. Has 5 stick charges and will just walk out of there. They definitely had Geomag available. And I think that would have been able to kill off the Slaughter. Just the Geomag for a little bit extra damage, a couple more right clicks. Would have been close either way, but Flea is going to survive the top lane gank, and Moo's still just struggling to get any impact. In the meantime, bottom side, Lifestealer will take down the tower. Ravage still in the back pocket of this Tidehunter. Why, Jess? Well, he does have vision of the fact that the stack is being cleaned out. Problem is that the Winter Wyvern's right around the corner. Medusa can actually take this Templar Assassin decently on head-on fight. Although stanking, well, he will embrace himself first thing. Oh my god, that regen. I did not... What? Oh, he's getting hit with a pretty big meld strike. He is in a little bit of trouble here. Gush goes on YJS. A little bit too late to save. Now here comes the Sven. Only 2 points in the cleave, but they have the Pit of Malice. Ravage goes out, lands onto pretty much everyone. They'll try to focus down the Ancient Apparition, but here comes the Uber. They're going to try to cheese out Roya first. They will get it with one more shot. Group up for the teleport out and not do it because they canceled it, actually. Sneaking is going to get embraced, and they will curse up the Templar Assassin. Ahsoka is here as well with a 4-man crush. Ahsoka's going to start clawing through all of them. Flee as well. Just right-clicking into the mob of heroes. Sneaking, still alive, will eventually die to Derp Derp. QM as well. Will fight to the bitter end, but he will eventually go down. Derp Derp, no way. Really? Is he gonna... He might actually survive this. Oh, Nox is probably not gonna survive this, though. One more crush will get the... kill. And they'll kill off the Underlord, and also the Ancient Apparition was picked off as well. By someone. Who got that? It was Ahsoka at the end. Very bold move there from the Underlord, canceling that Dark Rift out. It looked good. And honestly, it was pretty good for the Wheelwreck side. That is not the correct fight recap, but being able to get in there, kill off the Winter Wyvern immediately, that's all well and good. Problem is that she has a buyback. Is going to be very costly, but that 4-man clump up right here obviously did quite a bit of damage versus the TA. At the very least, depleted all of her defensive refraction charges. But at the same time, at the very most, was able to set up for a 4-man crush. The Lifestealer had all the time in the world to get into that fight from the bottom lane and to start letting loose. Wheel's fight didn't go too poorly, but they definitely overplayed their hands. He's going to find Derp Derp right now. Start beating into him. He'll be frozen in place. Ahsoka's going to make his arrival, though. Onto the Earth Spirit. Has a roll out, and he will actually make it clean away. In the meantime, though, Derp Derp will land an Ice Blast shotgun right to the face of 2, but that won't quite do it. QM popped God Strength to try to farm these Ancients. Gotta assume got most of them there, but ultimately didn't get the entire thing. Medusa, I don't know if Medusa was able to clean up that stack earlier. Again, I'm pretty sure she got most of them, but not the entirety of that stack. Moose, what the hell are you doing there, bro?
Middle tower is under attack.
I don't really know why he's there. He's there, though. That's okay. Lee, thanks to that last engagement, just a hop, skip, and a jump away from one of the faster blink daggers I've seen on Slardar. 15 minutes on a 4-position support Slardar. That is an incredibly rapid pace. The Sven at this point does have those cleave points built up. Level 3 right now. God Strength as well. Is going to be suffering. 5 Warcry armor up against the Lifestealer. The Anchor Smash, of course, that split shot, which is usually pretty hard countered by that Warcry armor. Not going to be the case in this game. Sven is with this Stormhammer build, trying to get mixed up in as many fights as he can. Doesn't really have any ancients to back off into. Even if he wasn't in these fights, they'll go for this top tier 1 and should be able to clean it out pretty safely. Over in the mid lane, though, Winter Wyvern up in the sky will not land that first hit burn onto YGS, but she'll run right into the Leviathan. There's a Ravage here. Nox is going to arrive with the Dark Rift. Damage? I think they don't have enough damage to kill off this TA. They're trying to just right-click down to Nox. It's going to fall short. They'll get rooted a couple times, but the Underlord playing the IO there is going to be able to get him out of safety. QM still on top lane, though, with the Mask of Madness turned on. God Strength still available. Can put a lot of damage into this tier 2. I'm surprised no one's actually trying to deal with this. Obviously, they're all more concerned about dealing with this mid lane situation. Finally, Flea's going to arrive with this very ugly surprise to QM. Tidehunter is going to arrive. They have Corrosive Haze. And have Ravage. They don't need it. They had a Crush. Yeah, that's a good attempt there, Sven. Good attempt. But that is, of course, the way you want to show off that new Blink Dagger. Of course, the Lifestealer is going to be very happy about that as well. You want to get mixed up in your armlet as soon as possible. Corrosive Haze and Gush. That's a hell of a lot of minus armor onto Moose. Letting the Medusa just rip through him. Oh my god, the damage. He rolls, not quite into Roche, but they do, of course, still see him. And, well, look at that. There's a Lifestealer here. Little two-shot for the kill. Stan King is going to get left behind in the meantime. Blink Crush there from Flea. Will haze the Templar Assassin. I don't think there's any way they could give chase here, though. A little bit too far with this tier 1 tower still being up, but sneaking now. Can just push the front lines with a Ravage threat, or just kill off an Underlord in the middle of nowhere. They have a Crush. They probably didn't even need that. They'll just take the kill, mostly through Ahsoka's right clicks. And sneaking still. I don't think he's one Ravage. He's one Ravage, and he's just threatening more. Sometimes that's all you need. Of course, you always got the Force Staff, the full Hurricane Pike, right around the corner. Tower will fall. Ahsoka gets it, and that's his Desolator completed as soon as the courier gets out here. That is Corrosive Haze minus armor, Desolator minus armor, and of course Gush. What level is Gush? It's only level 1. But that's even more minus armor. Up against a Sven who only has 1 point Warcry, so that's going to be unpleasant. The Tidehunter does have a hood here. Barrier's going to go up. Obviously doesn't help him. Not one bit up against that TA. Moo's got his back turned up against that Medusa. Does take a Gush, and the Anchor Smash does so much damage. They do pick off the TA. Guys, what the hell? Dude, Moose has just got the luckiest break of all time. Never mind, he's dead. Ugh, got him. And Ahsoka's still chasing in the meantime. QM, wounds now open, bleeding all over the floor. He's going to God Strength for reasons. Intimidation tactics. That's how you do it. They also have Derp in their sights. Blink Crush. 3, 2, 1. Blink Crush onto the AA. And now here comes the minus armor from the Gush. Oh my god, that was minus 16. That's it? GG? GG's called. God. My last, like, 6 games casted have been 20 minutes. Not even joking. This is beginning to be a little bit ridiculous. I mean, let's just get all the obvious stuff out of the way. I think most people would say VGJ.Storm are the favorites in this particular matchup. But looking at the previous result, I didn't cast the previous result, but that was a 2-1 for VGJ.Storm, and that's what dropped Wheelwreck down to this lower bracket, and then ultimately they're back to face up against VGJ.Storm again. But I didn't expect what the first game was like 23 minutes. It's like 40 minutes of actual gameplay. Between the draft and just waiting for the game, I think we may actually have had more waiting than gameplay, which sucks. And I'll tell you why. Because the next game isn't scheduled to start until 9 Eastern, which is in an hour and 40 minutes. Somebody shoot me right in my face. Oh my god, this schedule. I mean, what is there to say about this game? VGJ.Storm, Flea, just massively outperforming this Earth Spirit. The Sven not getting nearly enough farm. Can't flash farm because there's nowhere to safely farm around the map. Absolutely no pressure on the Lifestealer. Absolutely no pressure on the Tidehunter. It did seem like in this game, Wheelwreck were just outclassed, pure and simple. Like there's not much more that I could really say about that. Like the Templar Assassin just got dumpstered by the Medusa. Minor help there from Flea and from Stan King, obviously. And Stan King did play pretty solid in this entire series, but really it was the fact that Ryoya just wasn't losing his lanes. Sneaking just wasn't losing his lanes today. You can't do much about that. Man, I hate it when series do this. It's just the worst, man, because it's like It's like, what can I say? They just got their asses handed to them. That was like the most one-sided stomps of all stomps. This is the finals. This is the finals of Group B rather, and just over. Oh well, guys. Immortals going up against Team Leviathan. We'll just say that this was just the introductory series. For all of you who have never played Dota before, this is how Dota is played. You can see how Dota is going to be played in another 1.5 hours. Leviathan will be taking on Immortals. Then, guys, I'm Mike Loris. What a short series. I'll be back for Leviathan going up against Immortals, and I can almost guarantee that game is going to be better. There's a non-zero chance that we may push up early. Maybe. I don't know. It depends on what the teams want. Depends on what the admins want. But I'm hoping for an earlier game. Guys, I'll be back later for Leviathan going up against Immortals.